Welcome to Death and Aliens, an in-depth look at horror and sci-fi TV from two friends who vaguely know what they're doing. I'm MK,
And I'm Courtney.
and Courtney, how are you?
Well, thank you for asking. I'm in a bit of a panic spiral because, as you know, no one else knows because they'll hear about all of my chaos way after I'm back.
Yeah.
But as you know, I just got home Thursday, which today's Monday, and I leave again Thursday to go to a place I've never been, again. And I'm not fully planned, and I have work that I'm working on. I'm working with new bands and doing some new booking stuff. So I have meetings with new bands. I have content to create that I was already paid for, which is fine. I'm going to finish that today. And there are not enough hours in a day. I don't know if you know. And on a similarly related note, you can tell how tired I am with this new computer, and it's kind of a bummer.
It's unfortunate.
It's unfortunate that you can see me so well because you for sure just saw really grainy me and I could fake it a lot better.
Right.
But I'm okay otherwise. Like I said, I've been back a week, so I've been trying to rest a lot, work a lot. I forgot already that Agatha All Along has come out.
Oh, has it?
I think it came, I think so. Now I may be lying, but I'm like 90% sure it already came out. And I forgot about it. And so I've been wanting to watch that. So I've been watching some new. Oh, nope, it comes out in September. I am not. I'm not
Okay, I was
behind.
gonna say I didn't think anything came out yet. I know only Murders in the Building season 4 comes out
Also comes
tomorrow.
out. Yes.
Tomorrow.
Yeah.
Which when you guys see this, that will have been a month ago.
Yeah, it will have already been on. You'll be like, you are behind. By the time you see this, Agatha will also be out probably.
Yeah.
So maybe I'm right. Why are we lying to people and telling them I'm wrong?
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm getting back into my Marvel world. I've been watching Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. again and just kind of like trying to do anything that keeps me sane while I'm in this insane time of my life.
Yeah. Yeah.
How are you?
I'm good. We have 5 episodes already recorded before this one comes out, so it'll be a while.
So we'll see you next year.
Yeah. How am I? I'm okay. Last time I talked to you guys, I was absolutely not a functioning human being. Because Courtney and I decided to do everything.
All of them.
While I was going back to work. So that was great. Thursday, after I drove Courtney to the airport at 3:30 in the morning on 2 hours of sleep, I went and took a 2-hour nap and then went to work.
Yep.
Luckily, the first part of the day was a breakfast meeting with the teachers union. So like I was fed and given coffee and just talked at for an hour or two, which was fine. And then I got to take another nap. And then in the afternoon, I went to my actual school to like meet my principals and everything and find my classroom. And I was very, very stressed because I had like done absolutely nothing to get ready to have a classroom. Like didn't even know if I was going to have a classroom. It wasn't until Tuesday that I even found out like any of my class schedule. Like I've been very, very worried about school.
Oh yeah, you get kids tomorrow, right? Or was that today?
No, next week. This week
Next week?
No, this week is just teachers only. So last week was only new teachers. This week is all staff, and then next week is kids.
Gotcha.
But luckily, because of the way English as a second language classes work, and the fact that a lot of our stuff is either like very small group or pushing into other classes, all 3 of us share a classroom. And the other 2 are not new teachers. So I walked in and it was already like decorated with flags of every country that our kids come from and like bilingual books, and like it was beautiful. And I was like,
oh, I love that.
I don't have to do anything. Like obviously like, and when I meet with my 2 counterparts this week and we have like our department meeting and everything, like I will obviously talk to them and figure out like if there's things that they want me to bring, if there's things like blah blah whatever. But the fact that like I walked into a not empty blank classroom, I was like,
Oh, breath of fresh air.
that was, and I feel bad because Dan, his last 2 years, he was a mobile teacher. So like he had an office, but he moved to different classrooms. But now that he's a third year teacher and he's teaching an AP class, he has enough seniority to have a classroom. So like I'm over here like crying in joy that I don't have to go panic pack, like make a classroom. While we're recording, he's panic making a classroom
I
for
was
the
gonna say,
for the
do you
first
need
time.
to go help him? Because he helped you last year
He did.
painting and
Yeah, no,
whatnot.
he's been helping me for the last 2 years, really, when he didn't have a
Mhm.
classroom. Um,
Right.
basically, he's gonna do some stuff today. He also probably wouldn't like want my help because then he would feel like obligated because that's the kind of person he is.
Mhm.
But basically, I'm gonna let him do whatever he's got to do today, and then anything that like doesn't get done today, I will be spending all of my after school time this week helping him set up his classroom. Except for
Sure.
tomorrow because we have our food tasting for our wedding.
That's exciting though.
Yes. So yeah. So I'm okay. I the last couple weeks have been very stressful, and the next couple weeks are going to continue to be very stressful. But I'm doing all right.
Excellent.
I was panicked because I thought college classes, because I have my last semester of classes. I thought college classes started last week. But
What a time that would be.
like I had no emails or anything. And I was like, how is this even happening? Like how my classes aren't live on our online class program. I have no emails from either of my professors. Like I don't understand. And then I saw on Facebook this weekend that it was move-in weekend. And I was like, oh, because school hasn't started yet. That's why I have no information.
Yeah.
Both of my classes are online entirely, with just like individual meetings with the professors
Mhm.
because one is like my practicum hours and one
Right.
is like my senior seminar.
Ugh. At least it's those classes and you're not
Yeah,
taking like something insane.
right. And both of them are with professors that I have a personal relationship with. One is my advisor and one is the one I took the independent study with last year. So
Mm.
like
Hmm.
I'm very not worried about that except for the amount of work that I will have to do. Like that's my only
Right.
real concern. Um, but I was panicked because I got an email a couple of weeks ago, like from the Department of Education that was like, please disregard this email if it doesn't apply to you, but a lot of you have not signed up for your classes for the fall. And I was like, I did right. I did right. And then I couldn't
You did
find any.
that at the end of your last semester, didn't
Yeah,
you?
no, I
Yeah.
did. I did. But then I like couldn't find anything online and I was like, did I am I am I the problem? I'm not. I'm signed up. I'm fine. Classes just haven't started yet. So
It's okay. Since I've been in a panic when I forgot that you actually bought the Avril Lavigne tickets and I just paid you and not a real
yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
I've now every other ticket I've bought, I've panicked that I couldn't find them. I found them all
Good.
because I have
Good.
tickets for when
Because
I'm in the city and tickets in New Orleans in October,
yeah,
and I have both of them.
I had have none of your other tickets. So
Right. Yeah.
those
No, the
ones
rest are on my phone.
those ones I did have. I did not have
Because
any of
what
the other
happened
ones.
is I tipsy like and panic like bought these tickets as soon as they were available, the other two. And so I
Mm,
have everyone's tickets for the rest of them. And so when I
mm.
was in New York, when I was in Buffalo, I was like, no, I also bought those in a panic. I did not.
No, because we bought them 3 months before the concert, not in a
Mhm.
panic at all.
Right. Right. Well, I also bought the ones for New Orleans 3 months in advance, but you had like 1 week to get the discount. And tickets were like 60 or 80 a ticket, or you could get 4 tickets for $80.
Well, then
And
obviously you
so
bought all four.
right. So I bought all four and I had to like, but I had to keep refreshing because it kept telling me they were sold out. And I was like, they're not sold out. They're not sold out. And then one day they were not sold out and I panic bought them. So I have them. But
Well, since both of us are handling our stress really, really well right now, I think it would be the best time for you to give us a dash of spiritual enlightenment.
you got it. You got it. You were born to be a player. You were meant to be here. This moment is yours. Herb Brooks.
Love that. This moment is mine. All of the things are happening. So, yeah.
including my mic kicking out. I need to order a new mic. I was looking at mics yesterday because
Um,
this is nonsense.
well, speaking of nonsense, I was trying to find a segue and then I
I
couldn't.
got you.
And then you got me. You had my back. Today we're talking about Stargate SG-1, Season 6, Episode 15, Paradise Lost.
And with something called Paradise Lost, you would think there's so much symbolism, there's so much to the detail, there's so much going on. But alas.
And remember, I gave you a hint that you would enjoy the character that we were focused on
Mhm.
this week, not that you would enjoy the episode.
Right, right. And I did get the character wrong because I immediately say Braytech every time you say that.
Yeah,
And
but
about
you,
50% of the time I'm right.
yeah, but
But
you also love Maybourne. So,
I had just been talking about Maybourne like the
yeah,
last two episodes and be like,
yeah.
is he coming? Is it this one? So yeah, I waited
Um,
until he was actually coming to not think of him.
yeah. It
So
was rated 7.5 stars, which so it is on our lower end. It's not the lowest of the season, but I think that's fair. I do not
what
think
was the lowest of the season? Did we have that one already?
we did. Well, we had the lowest. The lowest so far was 6.9, and it
Mm.
was the horrible like alien one where they were in two dimensions at once because of the contagious touching each other drug thing that was in the
Mm. Hmm.
yeah. So it was not as bad as that, which makes
Yeah.
sense. Um, it came out on January 31st, 2003.
Speaking of 2003, sorry, I'm gonna not interrupt you every single thing you say, but Rachel
Okay.
walked in as I was watching this episode, and and it was towards the end of the episode where it was more like black and white. It wasn't quite as like bold as it normally is. And she was like, when was this show made? It was like it was
Well, to
2003.
be fair, the discoloration was intentional,
Right.
and it made sense in the episode. But if that's the only
That's
thing you
all you saw.
saw, it would be very confusing. The rest of the episode wasn't that color.
It was not, yeah.
Yeah,
It was really
that's
funny
really
though.
funny because Dan was watching it with me, but he was like
Mhm.
on his computer doing work, so he was only half paying attention, and then he just looks up
Mhm.
and goes, "What's wrong with the TV?" I was like, "Jack's on drugs." He goes, "Oh, okay." I was like, "Yeah."
Right. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
No, then it's fine.
It's
Um,
fine.
um, the number one song is a song I have quite literally never heard of.
Okay.
I did not look it up because of reasons that will make sense now when I tell you the song. The song was Bump, Bump, Bump by B2K and P. Diddy. And in the year of our Lord 2024, I did not feel comfortable like looking up a P. Diddy song just for shits because I'm not about that at this moment.
That's totally fair. I do think I know that song. Not off of the top of my head,
Yeah.
but I do think I know it.
Yeah.
Um, just because
Uh,
I knew
yeah.
those people in those songs at that time.
Right. The book is the same, which was the Wheel of Time or whatever.
Hmm.
And the number one movie is a movie we have talked about before,
Ooh,
because it traumatized both of us, very, very deeply. And honestly, every other human being our age in the world. Final
Jeepers
Destination
Creepers.
2.
Oh, yes. What a great movie.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, there's no one between the ages of like 25 and 45 who is not terrified of dying because of a log truck.
A log truck. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Um, I really struggled to find things that happened on this day. But there was a train accident in Australia that killed 7 people, which was really sad. And I didn't want to go into more detail about it because that was sad.
Fair.
And then
That's sad, yeah.
also, the country of France, issued a warning to all French residents of the Ivory Coast to evacuate the country. And I was very confused because I was like, I thought Cote d'Ivoire was a country before 2003. They surely were. They gained independence from
Okay.
France. Yeah, they gained independence from France in 1960. But between 2002 and 2007, they had multiple civil wars. And because it being a former French colony, a lot of people who lived there were still like French. And
Mhm.
the French government was like, yo, these civil wars are wild. Please leave.
What a time.
Right. It was like, cool.
I thought we were about to have another Homeland Security moment. And I was like, I can't
Right.
handle these things that happened in 2003 that I thought were much older.
Yeah, no,
So
1960. Cote d'Ivoire has been
yeah,
a
yeah,
country
yeah,
since
yeah.
1960.
Excellent. That is much better.
Yeah, it's okay. I got confused the other day because Dan was looking at something that said France's longest border is with Brazil, but it was a picture of the country of France. And I was like, hold on, I'm gonna need you to explain this. It was talking about French Guiana or French
I was
Guinea.
like, those are
No,
not the
no, yeah,
same.
like French Guinea, which
Mhm.
interestingly, French Guinea doesn't want independence because they are a smaller country. And if they get independence from France and Brazil invades, they won't be able to like
Sure.
defend
Yeah.
themselves. And with everything that's happening with Venezuela and Guyana right now, they're like, no, 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 it's cool. We'll stay French. We're cool.
We're fine. Fine. We're
Um,
fine.
but I was like, what do you mean France has a border with Brazil? I'm not that bad at geography.
Right. I was like, those are not the same. Those are not the same.
Yeah. So, just geography and history are things that I think I'm good at until I try to research episodes.
Look, I never claimed to be good at either of those things, but I do know where France is. That is all I can say.
Yeah. Um, this episode was directed by William Garrity, written by Robert C. Cooper, edited by Eric Hill. So, nothing exciting there. Um,
Mhm, mhm.
Our guest star is someone that I really thought we had talked about already. And then I realized he was only in one previous episode and we did not talk about him. But I do think I mentioned that he was a recurring character when he was in it. And that is Bill Dow, who plays Dr. Bill Lee, who is the scientist who is fighting with Sam. He was also the lead scientist on the episode with the Prodigy in season 4 with the girl who was like at the Air Force Academy and then they brought her off world and then she joined the new SG-1 team.
Mhm.
Yeah. So he has been in it before. He is
I guess because we had that team to talk about, so we didn't.
yeah,
Because
yeah,
I
yeah.
also was like, "There's no one new to talk about."
Yeah. Exactly. I was like, nobody's in this episode, but no, Dr. Lee was in an episode where he was not the top ranked guest star and he hasn't been in it
Mhm.
again. He will. He's one of those people like Major Davis who just pops up a lot. But apparently this is the first time that he has popped up in an episode where there wasn't a more important guest star.
Right, which is fair.
Yeah. Which I also feel like it took us a while to talk about Major Davis in the beginning too, so that
It
makes
did.
sense.
It did take quite a while. I feel like, yeah.
Um, he is known for Cool Runnings, Legend of the Fall, and The Big Year.
I
To
don't
be
know what the
honest,
big year
I
is.
don't know what either of those things are. The only thing I really know I've seen him in other than Stargate is Cool Runnings. So,
What was the second one you said?
Legend of the Fall.
I know about it. I haven't seen it. To be fair, I've not seen any of those. I do know Cool Runnings, have not seen it. I also know Legend of the Fall. It was a big movie. That was a big one.
You've never seen Cool Runnings?
Mhm. I don't know why you're still surprised when there are things I haven't seen.
I know, but okay. That's great. Um, he he is an actor, a director, and a writer. He's worked in film and theater. But my favorite fun fact about him is that he has a PhD in theater and classical mythology, and he wrote a play that was basically like a modern retelling of the Medea origin story, like classic Greek Medea, not like uh Tyler Perry Medea.
Tyler Perry
Um,
was like, I was like, what is his name? Yeah.
yeah, but so he wrote a play and he's like done a lot of theater in Vancouver and everything, but he wrote the modern retelling. It's called Jason and Medea and it is just like a story of the Medea origin story.
Oh, I may have heard of that.
Yeah.
Hmm. Now that you
So,
say that, I was like, that kind of sounds familiar.
yeah. Um,
Interesting.
he's a semi-private person. I can't, so he has no social media, so I don't have a lot about him, but I do think that anyone who has a PhD in theater and classical mythology is someone that the two of us would enjoy hanging out with.
Oh, hands down. No question. Yes.
Yes. So that's great. Um,
Does he want to come on the podcast?
I mean, as soon as I find a way to contact him with his lack of social media, I will find out.
Sure. Okay. I'll find his management that he probably doesn't have if this is his. Well, I don't know. He did Legends of the Fall and Cool Runnings. He
Yeah.
might have a manager somewhere in the.
I mean, he probably has a manager, but it's probably more for his written work if he does a lot of
Yeah,
theater writing. So,
that's
um,
true.
that doesn't mean it wouldn't be helpful
That's still
for
a
us.
contact, though. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Speaking of, I reached out to a manager for a composer, like a month ago and still have not heard anything. I'm really upset about it.
Who
I
are
just,
you trying to get in touch with?
Murray Gold, like one of the
But like,
biggest.
why? Like, do you need help?
I no, I need sheet music.
Oh, dude, yeah, we'll talk about that after.
Okay.
I will. Yeah. No, that's you don't need to talk to their manager. You
Well,
need to go to
there
a
was
different source.
yeah, there wasn't it was the publishing website for his music. Like there was no like
Yeah. No. I bet it's on
Okay.
Hal Leonard. I know the contact of those people.
Okay, because well the thing is
Yeah.
I can get buy his sheet music like anywhere. Really. I'm just looking for a specific piece that I want outside of the medley that it's sold in as normal sheet music.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll get in touch with Hal Leonard and they will either connect you to the right people or we'll give you the piece you're missing. Mhm. I got you.
Okay.
Literally, that was my job. I don't know why you have not mentioned this to me before today.
Because I just sent like the email and then like it only just yesterday when I was making my to-do list of things for the wedding, realized that I had never heard back from that email and was like, okay, because I have a DJ. I'm still working out the ceremony music situation.
This is a great bridesmaid task for me to have.
Fantastic. Great. I need sheet music so that because it's a church and so they're going to want you to do like the organ music and everything, but I would like to walk down the aisle to a very specific piece of music that will sound absolutely terrible on the organ, so I need to find the sheet music to figure out what musicians I need to hire musicians.
Right. Yeah.
So
no, girl, I got you. Girl, I got you.
Great. This episode starts with a previously on, which is always exciting. And the previously on is just basically a love story between Jack and Maybourne.
I knew Maybourne was going to die. He doesn't, but I knew that that's what was about to happen because of this previously on.
Well, because the previously on showed us literally every single time that Jack has told Maybourne he's going to shoot him.
Yeah, but I didn't realize that was the connection. I thought he was just going to die in some tragic, horrible death.
Yeah. So we start the episode with Jack grilling at his house, just, hanging out at home, when Maybourne appears behind him eating all of the food.
Look, I get it.
Yeah. And he says that he wants Jack to have him arrested because he would like a presidential pardon.
Which I don't think that's really how that works. Usually there are a few more steps in between.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, that is probably the first step, is to no longer be on the run.
Oh, absolutely. That's the first step. That is indeed step one. But it's not step one, now you're pardoned.
Right. But then again, with people as high ranking as Maybourne and Jack and Hammond, maybe that is the only step.
Is, yeah.
So he's talking to Jack about Simmons and the Prometheus and how he's actually the one who let them in on the secret of this planet, blah blah blah. And he is like, I would like to personally take you to the weapon planet in exchange for this pardon. And Jack's like, I think not, ever.
Sure.
And then Maybourne gives Jack the address for the planet by throwing the paper on the grill.
What a drama queen.
But then he's like, but actually, it doesn't matter even if I give you the address because you can't get there without me. And then we have the credits.
So now I'm like, wow, this is going to be a big episode. This is going to have a lot going on. That was it.
In some ways it does, and we will talk about that at the
storyline short, it follows and it keeps going, but the episode itself didn't have as much energy as I wanted.
No, it definitely doesn't have as much energy. It does have some really important pieces of information.
Yeah.
it doesn't have any energy.
which was
So
my problem.
yeah, that's totally fair. Um, I watched it early enough in the day yesterday that it didn't matter that it didn't have energy.
Yeah, I had worked for like 6 hours straight and then was like, oh, I'm out of work to do. So I'm gonna go sit in my bed. And then I woke up to Rachel being like, what year was this made? As she's coming in to tell me we're leaving. And I was like, I don't know anything that's going on. Let's start over. And then I
Yeah,
finished it when I got home last night at 10 p.m.
yeah,
And so I was like, thank God I still have Hannibal to watch. I need to
yeah,
wake back up.
yeah. Um, so Jack takes all the information that they have to Hammond, who authorizes them to check out the planet sans Maybourne. Like, let's figure out if he
Right.
is even telling the truth about any of this. And on the planet, they discover a temple with ancient writing belonging to the Furling. Um, the Furling are the fourth of the four ancient races that we learn about in Torment of Tantalus. But they're the
Okay, so
ones
we haven't heard about them. We've just heard their name, right?
correct.
Okay,
Yes.
that's what I thought. I
So,
just want to make
so
sure.
the four ancient races from Torment of Tantalus, we now know all four of them,
Hmm.
sort of. Because it is the ancient, the Nox, the Asgard, and the Furling.
Hmm.
Um, the Furling, the Furling are the biggest inside joke of Stargate. They don't exist. They will never be in the show. They will be
You did
mentioned.
tell me we wouldn't really know about them.
Yeah, they will be mentioned in things like this episode where Jack was joking about how he doesn't trust anything that's furry.
Right.
We have no idea if they're furry. In fact, the only piece of real trivia other than like interview production notes about this episode is that originally in the piles of skeletons, they were going to put a skeleton of a furling, but then they'd have to commit to what the furling looked like, so they decided not to.
Do you think there's fan fiction about the Furling?
Absolutely,
For
I'm
sure,
sure
right?
there for sure. But but I just every time anybody has a conversation about what the furling look like or what they do or what they say, I just die laughing because it is the it is the biggest inside joke.
It's
And
amazing.
I'm obsessed with the fact that they continued to for uh 17 seasons and 5 movies never tell you what they look like.
Yeah, that's a real bummer. We should have like a spinoff that is just the Furlings.
I
Like,
kind of picture them looking like Elf.
yeah, I want them to be like Furlings, like about Alf, but in the vein of like the dinosaur movies, like that style.
Yeah. Or
But
like
like,
I don't know if you've seen any of the newest like Doctor Who stuff, but there's this thing called the Meep.
mm-mm, they're
It
not.
it is this thing. It's called the Meep, and it literally just looks like
Like
it
puppets.
kind of it's like it looks like a sloth but with troll hair and like giant eyes. It's like it looks like it could be a stuffed animal. It's like tiny
So
and
it looks like the Sesame Street puppet, not Sesame Street. What are the puppets? The Muppets. The
yeah, kind
Muppets.
of. Yeah, it kind of looks like a Muppet.
Hmm.
The eyes aren't on top of the head though. They're like in its face.
Mm-hmm,
Um,
hmm.
so but yeah, that's
Wild.
wild. Um, I'm obsessed. I think that the Furlings are like a cross between Elf and a Meep.
We should have a drawing contest for the Furlings.
Yes, absolutely. We should.
Hmm.
Um, but they like Jonas is sort of able to read it. He's like working to translate it, but it's not a language that they're super familiar with because no one is familiar with the Furlings. So it's taking him a minute.
Sure.
And Jack is very disappointed that it's the Furlings. He was really hoping it was literally any of the other three. Even Gould would have been better than the Furlings in Jack's mind.
Because he knows what they are.
Yes.
Hmm.
Um, so they find where the key should belong. They find this doorway that Maybourne was talking about, and they're like, okay, well, we're gonna try to get it to work without this key that Maybourne says. But Sam can't. There's no way to get it to function. Um, so they bring Maybourne with them to the SGC with his key. And then Jack is like, all right, cool, I'm gonna take the key. And Maybourne's like, that's so funny.
He's
No.
so wild this episode.
They're like, I'm sorry, what? He goes, well, you see, you have the key, but you don't have the combination. The only place where
I
the
would have punched him
combination
in the face right
exists
there.
right up here. Um, and so he's like, you can take the key, but you still don't have anything. So Jack and Hammond are very skeptical, but they realize they don't really have a choice. So they're going to send Maybourne with them. Of course,
Mhm.
Maybourne, it goes with no weapons, obviously. Um, and there is a really sweet moment though, like a very minor like moment where we remember that Maybourne's like a person. When he's standing in front of the gate and he like takes a minute because he's like all of the off-world
Oh
stuff that
yeah.
all of the off-world stuff that I've done, everything that I've done with the Stargate program, I've never actually gone through a gate.
I guess I didn't realize he hadn't gone through the gate
Yeah.
yet.
Jack didn't
Um,
either. He was like, what do you
yeah,
mean?
because it was who was the other one in the beginning? Was it
Make peace.
Kinsey? Make peace, make peace, make peace.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. He was the one who actually went through the gate for all
Yeah,
the
like
stuff.
Mayborn
Yeah.
used the gold like hologram ball
Hmm.
to tell Makepeace what to do, but he was always on
Yeah.
Earth when he did that. Um,
Hmm.
so like he's a little excited. So they go through and they get to the temple that they were at, and Jonas has finished translating everything. So he and Teal'c are kind of like wandering around trying to like do any other research they need to do at this temple. And Harry Mayborn puts the key in, but then he doesn't finish the sequence and he just goes, oh, I thought that was gonna work.
I can't with him.
So Sam, in the most gullible moment of her life, which she then chokes on for the
Immediately
rest of the
regrets.
episode,
Yeah.
goes to over to help him, and he steals her Zat and shoots her and Jack. But Jack sees what's happening, and I don't understand what like he blocked the Zat. I don't really know how he did that. Or like if he like moved his gun in a way where the Zat actually hit his gun instead of
I
him.
think that must have been
I
what
think that's what
happened.
happened, but
Yeah.
he blocks it, which is interesting. Um, and so he starts to head through the transporter, but Jack like grabs him and throws himself on him and makes it with him.
Right.
And then Jack is literally about to throat punch Mayborn. He's full on like fighting him in the grass. And Mayborn's like, Jack, I need you to look around for a moment. And they realize they're in quite literally the middle of nowhere.
Oh my gosh. I was waiting. First of all, this scene took way too long. I was waiting and waiting, and I was like, you're gonna show me that there's nothing here. Just show me that there's nothing here.
Right.
And it
Yeah.
was fine, but it did feel like it took an eternity for them to actually pan out.
Yeah. Jonas and Teal'c come back and find Sam unconscious on the ground. And while it's important that we know that they safely found Sam, that scene was also stupid because they asked her what happened and she literally didn't speak. Like there was nothing happening in that scene.
Yeah,
Um, Jack is pissed, obviously. And
obviously.
Harry is more pissed that Jack came with him. He's like, you don't understand. I was trying to run away. There was never any weapons here. This was never the plan. I was literally just trying to escape. I was trying. He was like,
Define utopia.
yeah. He's like, let me just show you why I'm here. I can't really tell you. I'll show you. So they just start marching off through nothing. Um,
This man is such a moron some days.
Sam,
But also he doesn't understand because he's never been off world. And so he doesn't understand that everything is not always what it says it is.
exactly. And the problem is all of the information he had was accurate, but it was
Yeah.
so old that it wasn't accurate anymore. Like he said, they found it in a pyramid 80 years ago, which means that in Earth time, it's been there for who knows how long. How long ago did it get put in the pyramid? You've had it for 80 years, and that's not even when it was deposited.
Right.
So he has no concept of time.
Yeah.
Sam is struggling to figure out how to reopen the doorway without the key. And oh, we also find out when they're fighting each other that the Zat is not with them because however this transporter door worked, Goa'uld technology is banned, which is lovely.
Yeah. Which is strange. Because the only thing we've seen like that was the door thing that Tilt got stuck behind, right?
Mhm.
Is it the same technology?
Probably.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, you think about it, the four major like races, the Nox have the ability to become invisible and hide their entire society from the Goa'uld. The Asgard, we know, have the hammer. Um,
Hmm.
the ancients, the planet where they found Oma, the Goa'uld couldn't get there. And now this is the Furling. So it is showing that those four races, the reason they are the superior races is because they have this ability to like be superior to the Goa'uld.
Right.
Um, um, yeah, but so Sam's trying to figure it out. She can't. She sends Jonas back to the SGC to get a UAV to like figure out where they are. Um, Maybourne explains to Jack that the place they're going is supposed to be an alien utopia, and that the in paper that he had was actually an invitation for people who wanted to go rebuild society, basically. And there's no weapons. That's why they don't have the Zat. Like the Zat didn't work. There's no weapons. It is just a place for like peaceful communion with other aliens, and he is there because he is tired of running, and he every time he gets comfortable, something happens and he has to run again, and he doesn't want to go to prison, and he is tired of running.
Which also, like, that sounds nice, but just shows that you know nothing.
Correct. Um, so quick flash to the SGC where Hammond is getting ready to send the UAV and Sam is apologizing because she believes it's her fault that Harry got the weapon and got over with
Mhm.
her or
Mhm.
with Jack.
Right.
And then Jack and Maybourne find the camp finally, and it is abandoned and full of skeletons, which is really,
A real
really
bummer.
comforting.
Yeah.
Then we're back at the doorway and the temple, and we have Dr. Lee there running a science team. And he's very upset because he's like, we have no frame of reference for any of this technology. We do not know at all what we're doing. How do we even begin to decipher it when we don't have a counterpart? Like with all of the other technology we've encountered so far, we have something to go off of. We either have
Hmm.
shared information from them or we've used it before. This is brand new.
Right.
And Sam is getting real bitchy to him,
Because she's real in her feelings.
and Teal'c notices.
Yeah.
Teal'c snaps out of Kelno Reem and looks at Sam like, ma'am. His eyebrows are working overtime in that scene.
Yeah.
Um, then we find out that Jack and Maybourne are very, very much trapped. No, there is no appearance of any technology, and everything in walking distance is nothing.
Right.
So they spend the night, and the next morning, Jack goes looking for another gate while Maybourne starts a fire, and he's already panicking that they're never going to be found. Jack's like, well, we just got to figure out how to survive until we're rescued. And he's like, that will be never.
Right.
Um, then we go back to Sam and the science team, and we found out that it's been a week. And
That's
in
a
this,
great band name.
Sam and the science team, it's been a week, and they have nothing. They have absolutely nothing more than they started with. And Dr. Lee is absolutely not having it. Sam's like, you can quit when I say you can quit. He's like, actually, with all due respect, you can suck my dick because you're not my boss. Um,
But it is Sam in the science team, not Dr. Lee in the science team.
wow.
But
He-
also, yeah, people
yeah.
need breaks and whatnot.
He's like, I'm going to take my reports to General Hammond. And if General Hammond says that we still need to search, I will come back prepared to be here for more than a week. But I was
Mhm.
never prepared to be here, and you're not in charge. Um, so then we go back to our misfits, and Jack and Harry are trying to get used to their new life. Harry hates it. He's freaking out. He's complaining that the plants taste like arugula. Um,
Which,
and
like, there are worse things. I love arugula, so
I don't mind arugula. It's definitely in my like not in my top 10 leaves though. Like if I
Oh,
was,
it's definitely in my top 10 leaves. I love
oh
arugula.
no, 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 no. I think actually,
Mm.
honestly, the only thing I hate worse than arugula is kale.
I'll eat kale, but I don't love it. It's not my
I'll eat
favorite.
like air fried kale, like kale
Like kale
chips.
chips.
I'll eat kale chips. I won't eat like raw kale. Arugula, no, there is one other kale I don't like. I hate rocket.
Rocket is arugula.
Oh, okay. Well, sometimes
They're the
it's like
same.
they're disgusting.
That's that's what they call it in the UK.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. Yeah, no, I don't
Yeah.
like it. Don't like it. When arugula is in a mixed greens where it's not the only flavor,
hmm
I can usually handle it. When it's just arugula, not a
It has
fan.
a very like peppery flavor. So like if you don't like that, you're not gonna like that. And I love that. So I
Yeah.
love it.
Mm. Um, Jack is fishing and he's like, all right, this is my life now. I'm gonna figure out how to live my life now. And
Right.
um Maybourne freaking throws a golf ball full of C4 into the water, explodes it, and just starts collecting the dead fish.
Man, I thought Jack was gonna stab him right there. I thought he was done for.
Yeah. Jack literally goes, don't ever do that again.
Yeah.
Um, Also, I feel like that would ruin the taste of the fish.
Really though, like I mean, it's no good. It's a
Yeah.
terrible idea.
Yeah. Um, and Mayborn is like, everything here is spooky. And Jack is like, literally the only spooky thing here is you. I'm done with you. Um, and Mayborn's like, okay, but I keep hearing noises at night. I need you to give me my gun or give me your other gun. And Jack's like,
Absolutely not.
not a fucking chance. Like,
No, 0%.
um, so Mayborn just becomes more and more unhinged. Jack hides and buries his extra gun, so he only has his handgun and like
hmm
puts the P90 where neither of them can have it because there is no need for weapons like that when it's just the two of them. Um,
Truly.
but something seems to be watching him do that, which is a lovely feeling. Um, then we go back to Earth, and Sam is attempting to convince Hammond to send an entire satellite to this planet to find Jack. And Hammond is
Sam
like,
is a little unhinged this episode. Like,
yeah.
I get it. Love of her life is missing, but she's a little unhinged.
And she's like, there is no cost too great to finding Colonel O'Neill. And Hammond's like, I get it. I feel the same way, kind of, sort of, not quite, but
Not quite, but
but
okay.
like I get it, but also like
Right.
they're not my resources to throw around. They do in fact belong to the US Air Force. I have to justify the
Right.
use of them. I can't
Right.
just like um
Willy-nilly throw stuff out. Yeah.
yeah. But then luckily their conversation is interrupted by an unscheduled off-world activation. And it turns out the Tok'ra have scanned the planet, and there are absolutely no human life signs on the planet. So wherever Jack and Harry are, it is not on that planet.
Mhm. Mhm.
Good times.
Good news. Good news.
Now, another 2 weeks go by, and Jack wakes up feeling like someone is like there and watching him, and his hidden buried weapon is now missing. Also, Harry is missing.
This man. This man.
So Jack is like trying to read the scrolls that he's found like at the beginning, and he's eating the weird arugula plants while he's doing this, and he's like walking around tabulating how many dead bodies there are. And as he's going, the coloration of the screen starts to change with Jack's mindset changing. He's feeling
Right.
very like not okay.
Mhm.
Um, Unlike probably anyone else in this experience, Jack, as we know, has undergone lots and lots of special ops training and has not only been like in alien situations, he was a prisoner of war in the Middle East
Yeah.
So like, not gonna get him that easy. Like,
Mm-mm.
um, so he's like exploring and trying to figure out what else is going on, and he finds a gold skeleton with a knife and
Dagger.
a dagger in the throat where it could get
Mhm.
both skeletons. Um, then we go back to Earth for a scene. I literally go, "Oh, I might cry during this scene," and Dan goes, "Spoilers." Um, Teal'c walks in and finds Sam crying in the women's locker room, which Sam is like, "You're not allowed to be in here. It's the women's locker room." He goes, "You're alone and fully dressed. I don't understand."
Yeah. Yeah, which is correct. Those are all correct
Yeah.
things.
And she has a breakdown and she like kind of feel like it's like a combination of like everything is my fault. We just lost Daniel, but also like it is very much like a she does not know how to function without Jack.
Absolutely.
Oh,
Absolutely.
it is.
No, no question.
Yeah. Um, Back on the other planet, Jack finds a grenade trap in the woods and shoots at a boar, but actually ends up shooting a man who, let me tell you, did not look like Maybourne in that first scene.
Did
I
not.
was
No.
very concerned. I was like, how is there another person here? There's not another person
We just
here.
saw everyone is dead. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
It was Maybourne. That camera was weird. Um,
Hmm.
Maybourne freaks out and is like, I can't believe you shot me. And he's like, I knew it. You've been trying to kill me the whole time. And Jack's like, literally, please stop. Stop freaking out. Stop eating the plant. That's why everyone's
Right.
dead. He's like, that's why everyone's dead. They all killed each other because they ate that nasty arugula. It's a drug. Don't eat it. Um, and he runs away.
It
Great.
is, he is so unhinged right now.
Yeah.
I get it. I get the drug at the plant, but
Yeah.
he's so unhinged right now.
Oh yeah. Then we find Sam and Teal'c still working on trying to figure out where Jack is with all of their own time. And Jonas comes in because he's like, hey, like Hammond's about to replace Jack as the leader of SG-1. Like it's been long enough. Like the team's got to get back to work. And Sam's like, yeah, I know. Sam, you fought so hard to get Jonas on the team to replace Danielle. You need to get your fucking feelings in check.
Absolutely. Like, I get that it's stressful and it's upsetting,
Oh, would I do the
but
exact same thing in that situation? Yes. I am not an Air Force major.
right.
Um, but he does have some pictures of the device that Maybourne brought with him, and Sam looks at it and just immediately looks at it and realizes, oh, it's pointing to the moon.
This moment, I was like, now, after weeks,
Yeah, yeah.
could just,
To be fair, does it look exactly to me like the scene in Hercules when the Fates talk about the planets all aligning? Sure.
mhm.
Would I just look at it and immediately go, oh, they're on the moon? No.
Yeah, but if it came to her that quickly now, and she's
Right.
been staring at it for at least a
Well,
couple
she hadn't
weeks.
seen the picture. No, she hadn't seen the device. She had never seen what the device looked like before.
Oh, I didn't realize she hadn't seen the
Yeah, she
device.
was just
I
looking
see.
at like the footage of the planet and the temples and
Right.
the carvings. She had never seen the key except for in that
Mm-hmm.
short moment that Maybourne had it, so she wouldn't have
Mm-hmm.
seen it.
Mm-hmm.
So she had never
I
actually
see.
seen the key. So to be
Okay,
fair,
that
that
makes a
was
little more sense then.
yes. To be fair, that
Makes a
is the
little more
first time
sense.
she's ever seen that, but
Mm-hmm.
also you had zero clues going into this, and then that one triangle, you were like, "Oh, I fucking figured the whole thing out."
Yeah.
Um, Jack wakes up on in his camp, which at this point I am now pissed because there's no way in shit Jack had no stubble.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
the amount of like his hair is still too cut for me to believe that this has been 3 weeks was
Mhm.
yeah. Um He hears twigs breaking and he is still trying to explain the ghoul drug plant to Harry, who keeps attacking him anyway. And then he like literally he looks at Harry and he's like, if you do not stop, I will shoot you. I will have to shoot you. And he won't. So Jack shoots him. And I
Right.
really, in that moment, it really feels like that is it. Harry is dead now.
Yep. Yep. I
Um,
for sure thought that's what had happened.
but Jack's trying to save him. And about a day or so later, so now we're still like we're like 3.5 weeks into this shit. Um, he wakes up and he's not doing so well.
Mhm,
Um,
mhm.
but the Tok'ra rescue ship arrives and just in time. And Maybourne is like, but I can't go back to Earth. And Jack says that the Tok'ra will like rehome him, which
Right.
and Maybourne seems really happy about that. Jack is less happy about it, but part of it is because Jack knows the only way the Tok'ra will rehome him and be able to deal with how badly injured he is that he's going to have to become a Tok'ra.
Does he though? Oh, because he's so injured? Or
That's I think that's the implication. I don't this is not coming from anything that I remember from the past
Mhm.
or any like thing that was actually said, but he's so badly injured that he's about to die
Yeah.
having this conversation with Jack. Either he's just going to die or he's going to have to become a Tok'ra to live. And
See, I thought I couldn't, so I had a lot of different thoughts here.
okay,
I couldn't decide if Jack was like telling him this as a means of like hope, but he knew that he was really gonna die.
that's
I
definitely
didn't,
one option. Yeah.
right. I didn't know if he was so badly hurt that he was going to have to become a Tok'ra, which is why he's being put on a Tok'ra planet.
Yeah.
Or if he was just being like essentially exiled but safe, and Jack was just so fed up with him that he would this was his like reaction.
Those are definitely obviously the three choices. In
Hmm.
my mind, it has to be the Tok'ra one, just because literally when Jack shot him, it was the second time he'd been shot in the gut, basically.
Right.
So like
Yeah.
how does one survive that?
But I also
And
wasn't really sure exactly where he shot him.
yeah, I don't know about the second time. The first time,
Yeah. The
obviously, we
first time was
saw him.
definitely the guy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Um, but the other thing is that we know that Maybourne is does genuinely seem to not want the Goa'uld to destroy Earth,
Right.
but also is incredibly selfish and way
Right.
more
Also that.
about like living. He would probably
Hmm.
do anything to live. Um,
Yeah.
so would he take the Tok'ra up? Potentially.
I think
I
he
think
would.
I think he would, except that I think it's a really good question because how much um the Tok'ra are so very sacrificial in a
Hmm.
sense. Like they're like, well, this is just how it has to go.
Yeah.
So
I
I
I think he would because I think he doesn't understand. Because he's
that's
so disconnected and doesn't understand this outside world and this like any of the travels through the Stargate, which is how he ended up in this non-utopia. But like, so I think he would do it in a sense to save himself and not realize exactly what he was getting himself into. I do think he would, and on the other side, become fine and become a little more sacrificial and be a little less selfish because after he sees more of it, um,
yeah.
because I mean he does. I mean, we see him kind of put himself on the line for Jack a couple of times, like
Yeah.
not fully, but like kind of. And so I think he could get there, but I do think he would immediately join the Tok'ra and not understand what he was doing.
It's true. I yeah, I think that, but I think then it would be interesting to see if there was a chance of him like changing to be more like the Tok'ra. Because like obviously Jacob has
Hmm.
changed a lot. Like he
Yeah,
still loves Sam and Jack. Like that's not changed, but like his his level of what he's willing to do or what sacrifices he's willing to make and like
yeah,
where he puts his priorities has definitely changed.
for sure.
So
I think Maybourne would become more like Jacob in
yeah,
that
but
sense.
but yeah, no, I think just my gut instinct, I just looked things up and so I know the answers, but I'm not going to tell you. But my gut
Sure.
instinct in the way that conversation went was Jack kind of like giving him hope, but also knowing that the only hope he had was if he becomes Tok'ra.
Right. That makes
So,
sense. That makes
yeah.
sense. We do see Maybourne again, right? Like this isn't
Yeah.
okay. I'm never sure
Yeah.
what Stargate's gonna do because this could be an easy write-off
It
of
could be.
you're exiled, but like he's also a big enough character that I feel like we should see more.
Yeah.
Okay.
I will say it isn't soon. So,
I mean, every other time we've seen Maybourne has not been soon. So,
all right, as long as you just know that.
no, no, no. I'm not expecting him like tomorrow, but I would like to see him again.
Yeah, fair enough. Um, yeah, so do you have any other thoughts, theories before I get
Um,
into
I um I don't know. I feel like I had a thought in the middle and then I forgot it. I don't understand why or when we'll see more about the ancients because they just keep coming in pieces. But like completely hidden pieces. They're just kind of mentioned in passing. But like they're a huge deal. So we definitely are gonna like know more. And like I mean we've learned some, but like I don't know. It feels like it's being really, really drug forth. Because we'll obviously see the Asgards again. Because did you say we won't see the Nox again?
I don't
Or did I
think
make
we
that up in my
do.
head?
No, I think I did say that. I think we don't see them.
It's just like,
At least not seeing them. Like they will be mentioned, they will be talked
right,
about. Like there's been other times where they've said they've had communication with the Nox, but
right.
I don't believe we actually physically see them again.
Because that's just such a bold like choice to make for Stargate to be like, these are the four main groups you'll always have to see, and we only see one and a half of them with any reason.
Yeah.
And they really talked that up a lot for it to be a background story, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So those are my feelings. Those are my thoughts.
That's great. So I do have some trivia stuff, or some interview information. My favorite is that again, back to the Furlings.
Mhm.
When asked by a fan if we would ever like see the Furlings, Joseph Malozzi said like yes and no. Check out Paradise Lost, this season's Paradise Lost for more on those adorable little Care Bears of sci-fi. This is all we got.
That is nothing. That is not a thing that happened.
Yeah, what an ass.
Wow. What a
Um,
day.
um, so then there's a really long thing of interviews um with Amanda Tapping and basically if you remember in the Daniel's last episode there was supposed to be a scene with Sam and Teal'c in the hallway and they cut it for time. And
Because that story wasn't so necessary as they like to believe it was.
what?
You said that there was supposed to be more with Sam and Teal'c talking in the hallway?
Yeah. And
Yeah,
like Sam having a breakdown about Daniel and everything.
right.
And so then in this episode, they kept running out of time to film the Sam and Teal'c scene. And Amanda Tapping like put her foot down and she was like, I
Mm,
need this scene to be in there because A, you cut it out the last time that Sam got to have emotion and friendship with Teal'c. And B, if we don't get a chance to see her break, it does not justify how she treats everyone else in this episode. That is not Sam.
right.
Sam
That
would not.
is true.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. Sam's story felt a little out of place here. I understand she's in love with Jack, so she missed him, but like I think you could have removed her treating people that way and removed that scene with Tilk, and I would
No,
not have felt differently about this
agreed.
episode.
But
Yeah,
they weren't going to remove the her being
right.
bitchy. So
Yeah,
she was like, if you're going to do that, you have to justify it or it
right.
changes the character. And she literally
Yeah,
said like that is one of the only things that she's ever like fought the producers on was like getting that scene.
right. Which makes sense.
Yeah. Um, um, they I really like Joseph Malozzi talks about that scene as well and says that like that those scenes he really liked because they're the only ways that you really get to see that the feelings are there because neither one of them are going to say anything.
Right.
Um uh So also, Maybourne was supposed to die in this episode. Um,
Okay, that makes sense.
but also when they wrote that, they were under the assumption that the series was going to end at the end of season 6. They did not, because remember, we talked about this when
Hmm.
they switched networks, they kept going on, oh, we have one more season. Oh, we have one more season.
Right.
Oh, we have one. So they thought this is it. The show's going to end at season 6. Maybourne deserves an ending. By the
Right.
time we are now over halfway through the season. So by this point, they know that they have a potential, like I don't know, I have to look into the research, and I
I was
usually
gonna
don't do that.
ask.
I don't usually do that till we get to the end of the season to like double check dates, but I
Yeah.
think that at this point they are either sure that they're getting a second or a seventh season, or at least confident that it's possible.
Right.
So what they didn't want, they wanted to leave it in a way where, like we said, it could be that he denies the Tok'ra and dies. Great. But it could be that he doesn't, and so they wanted to leave it more open-ended
Open-ended.
because the
Yeah.
fans were really, like we said, Maybourne is the strangest character because the fans all just like were like, no, 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 we need him, we love him.
Right. It's
Sucks.
so strange.
Yeah. Um,
I mean, I get it. I feel that way too, but
yeah.
it is very strange.
Also the really interesting thing about this, about the plant from the Gould, is that Robert C. Cooper also fucking hates arugula. Um, uh, but it says Rob's aversion to spicy leaf plants isn't restricted to arugula alone. Um, Back in the day, we used to do an annual, so they used to go on an annual trip to Vegas, because Robert C. Cooper, Christopher Judge, John Glassner, um, Lennox is one of the producers, and Joseph Malosi. All five of them had their birthday within the same like 3-week period. So they used to do like a boys' trip to Vegas to celebrate all 6 of their
That's so
birthdays,
fun.
or all 5 of their birthdays.
We haven't talked about Linux before, right? That's not someone.
No, I actually I just
Okay.
looked at it and I was like, who the fuck is Lennox? I think it's a producer. Um, um, but the John Lennox. Oh yeah, he is. He's a producer, production manager, assistant to the executive producer. Yeah, John Lennox is uh he is the director of development for Richard Dean Anderson's production company, so he is an executive producer on the show as
Mm,
well. Um
hmm.
so unless hold on. I just looked it up, and there were 2 Lennox that came up with Stargate bios. Oh, the other one's his brother,
Oh,
who is just like a bit actor. So it's definitely talking about John. But also, yes, because John's birthday is in October, and so is Christopher Judge's. So that makes sense.
yeah.
But so they used to take these guys' trips for their birthday in um to Vegas, and they went to Cheesecake Factory, and they um and Robert C. Cooper got upset because there was too much cilantro on his tamale, and
I
not
get that.
not enough on Joseph Malosi's, and he was like, I don't understand why you trade tamales with me.
I hate cilantro, so I get it.
Dan is one of the people that cilantro tastes like soap too.
Mm,
It is
it just
really,
tastes like terrible to me.
it is really upsetting because also parsley tastes like soap to him too. Yeah,
Mm,
and I was like, what? So
parsley's fine.
in other reasons why he's a serial killer, he can't eat any greens apparently.
Yeah.
But
Hmm.
also all he eats is salad, so that's weird.
That's a choice. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, who do you want to punch?
Mayborn. Bless his heart. God bless. I can't.
Um, yeah, Sam, because bitch, get it together.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Fair.
unnecessary. Who is your MVP?
Jack. He kept it together and didn't actually kill Mayborn, but made sure that Mayborn didn't kill him or go crazy too much.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it to Teal'c for seeing Sam's distress and understanding
Uh-huh.
what it was and being there for her. Um, because otherwise the only other person who did shit in this episode was Jack. So
Correct.
correct.
Mhm.
Yeah. So, there's that. It is pretty interesting because we're headed rapidly toward the end of the season, which is so wild to me still. Um, but
Yeah.
but next week's episode is I'm going to tell you what they're called. Their titles very rarely have anything to do with the plot in a way that would spoil it for you.
Mhm.
Next week's episode is called Metamorphosis. Um, and once again, we are gonna be pulling in another loose thread to wrap.
Ooh, love a loose thread.
Well, I don't know if wrap, but we're definitely at least
Gonna address it.
gonna address a loose thread.
Hmm.
So
Hmm. Maybe the replicators.
there's a lot of loose threads. If we made like a list of all of the stories that have been started and not finished,
Hmm.
I don't know that
Yeah.
I still don't know, even if we did that, if we'd end up finding the correct loose thread.
Okay.
Just because the show likes to do that to us.
They
It's
do.
real.
They love it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, if you have any thoughts on what the loose thread for next week is, or if you would like to draw us what you think a furling looks like, please, please, please email us at deathandaliens@gmail.com or follow us on any of the social media at Death and Aliens. You can find me everywhere at EMKAY_superstar.
And you can find me at CE Cloud 13.
And with that, we will see you for an episode of Thriller Thursday that made me want to throw my computer out the window.
Yay!
Bye.